As it gets towards the end of the year, a lot of us are starting to think more about taxes. So in honor of that, I'm going to answer all of the questions that I got on my video about how to pay quarterly taxes. So definitely check out that video. The thumbnail looks like this if you want a more in-depth like tutorial and like all the questions and like formulas about how to pay quarterly taxes. But this is just kind of a more like sporadic, I don't know if that's the right word, like just a few questions that I got over and over. So I'm gonna go over those in this video. So starting off with, do you have to pay state quarterly taxes? So I think I didn't really talk about state taxes as much in this video. I kind of focused more on federal, or I didn't really spell it out as much, but yes, you do have to pay taxes for your state. State taxes are more, they vary more state to state. So I think some states don't have income tax at all. And then you just have to pay federal tax. But for me in Oregon, every quarter I am paying my federal taxes and then my state taxes, and it is on two different websites. So I go to the IRS website for the federal and Oregon's tax website for my state. And of course, in all of these videos, I need to make sure that to give the disclaimer, I am not a tax preparer. I do not have the certification that tax preparers do. I haven't gone through like the schooling for that, but I'm a person who I have owned my own business for 10 years. My husband owns his own business. We've had a variety of business structures and employees, and we've been W-2 employees. So we've kind of had to deal with this stuff for many years, as well as, of course, I'm a bookkeeper. So I kind of like talk through this with some of my clients and see what they're doing. But please do not take this as tax advice. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. I'm speaking in general and just as a layperson, not as someone who really knows what they're talking about. So definitely, especially if your business is growing and if it's getting more complex, definitely get a tax person to help you with some of your questions. I have a tax person that does my taxes every year now. When my business was small and things were more simple, I did do my own taxes using TurboTax. So depending on the complexity, you can make your own decision for that. All right, this person asked, what if I miss the April and June estimated quarterly tax deadlines, and then they're just gonna pay for the last two? That is okay. Obviously, you can't go back and pay things in the past, so I would just take the total amount that you were gonna owe for the year. Say you were gonna owe $1,000 and you were gonna pay that in 4 payments of $250. So you missed those two. So for the third payment, I would pay the first 3 payments. So you pay $750. And then for the last quarterly, pay the $250 again. You're gonna see a lot of my advice in this video is just do the best you can. They don't necessarily expect you to be perfect. I have gotten like a small fee before. It was like $37 or something, but it feels like a bigger deal than it is in some cases. All right, so this is a good question. So someone said they are married, filing jointly, and does he need to take into account his wife's income? So the answer is yes. If you are filing jointly, then it's your entire household's income. So he didn't say if his wife owns a business or if she's a W-2 employee, but regardless, that is your total income is what's going to determine your tax bracket. So it would be whatever she makes plus the net income of your business. All right, and then kind of going along with this person asks, do you calculate your quarterlies based on your net income or your gross income? So do you want to deduct all those expenses? And the answer is your net income. So make sure all of your expenses, all of your business expenses are deducted. So if you made $10,000, that is going to be minus all of your office supplies, your QuickBooks subscription, and any other expenses to the business. All right, and this is a question a lot of people have. It's kind of like the whole point of quarterlies, is he's saying he doesn't know how much money he's going to make by the end of the year, right? Give me a double thumbs up in the comments if you have this question too. I mean, this is why they are called quarterly estimates, because you don't know the exact amount you're gonna pay. So do the best you can. I would just take each quarter as it comes. So the first quarter, say you made $3,000. I would pay the correct percentage of that. And of course your percentage comes from your tax bracket. All that is explained in the other video I said. So take the first quarter, pay quarterlies. If the second quarter you make $0, then don't pay quarterlies that quarter. And then the third quarter, same thing. Do it based on what you made that quarter. And no one expects it to be perfect. Okay, and the next person says they are a LLC, they have their own LLC business, and then they also are a worker, meaning they work for another company where they're a W-2 employee who gets some kind of salary or hourly wage. So this is a little confusing. I've had a few questions about this, but for quarterly taxes in particular, just ignore your W-2 wages. So all your taxes for your W-2 are taken out automatically. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think about it. The only thing you have to worry and think about is your business. Like you are self-employed as an LLC and you're most likely getting 1099s from your employer. So this income over here that you're making for someone else does apply to your tax bracket because the IRS wants to know how much overall money you make. Kind of like the question I just answered, does his wife's income matter? It matters to determine your tax bracket, but you don't have to pay quarterly taxes on this. You only have to pay quarterly taxes when you are self-employed. All right, and a lot of people want to know if I've made no income, do I have to pay taxes? No, you don't. I feel like I've answered this a few times, but this person asks a slightly different question is, do I need to tell the IRS anything? Like, do I need to tell them like I made $0? Do I need to like file any kind of paperwork? And the answer to this is not really for your business. Like if your business exists and it's the first year and it's made no money, the IRS doesn't really care about that. Like they don't need to know that your business exists and is making no money. But that being said, I have filed taxes every year since I was like a teenager, I think, because even if you make any money, then you're gonna have to do some kind of filing of taxes. So I don't know how this person is supporting themselves, like if they, are married filing jointly, or if they have a W-2 job. But I'm guessing in order to like pay rent and eat and stuff, they have some money coming in, which means you're gonna have to do something with taxes in April. But no, you do not have to pay quarterly taxes or any taxes really if your business has made no money. All right, so this person was paying attention to my video. She says, I know that if I don't owe more than $1,000 in taxes, I don't have to pay them quarterly. So that $1,000 is that threshold when the IRS wants you to start paying them quarterly, not in one lump sum. So she knows this, but she's saying, can I be kind of like an overachiever? Can I pay quarterlies if I want to, even if I haven't reached that $1,000? And so I think, yes, you can. I don't think the IRS is gonna be like, no, don't pay me any money. I want you to wait till April. And there is pros and cons to this. Like if you don't have to pay quarterlies, some people think you shouldn't be giving the IRS any money like early because you should invest that money. Then you can be making money on your money. But are you really going to do that, or is it just going to sit in your bank account? I don't know. I am actually kind of like this person. I like to pay things early to like get it off my plate, get it out of my bank account. I don't like just like a bunch of money like sitting there waiting for taxes. And I'm guessing this will help her to kind of like budget better. So maybe she only owes like $200 per quarter, and that helps her budget if she gets rid of that quarterly. So let me know in the comments if you have any strong opinions on that, if you would ever pay your taxes a little early for your own convenience. All right, and this person asks, will I owe money at the end of the year if I pay quarterlies? And so the answer is just that it depends. It depends on how accurate your quarterlies were. They say that they're worried about paying more money at the end of the year, even though they've already been paying every quarter. And so it is true at the end of the year when you file your taxes for the year, things are going to equal out. So if you paid too much, you're going to get a refund. If you paid too little, you're going to owe some. So I guess if that's a big concern for you, you would just need to be as accurate as possible in your quarterlies. Sometimes there's other factors that go into taxes that seem so mysterious to me. It depends on like your life situation, probably your real estate, how many kids you have. Like it depends on so many things. It's not always possible to perfectly accurately predict it when you're going in. So you might owe some money at the end of the year. This person asks, is there an exemption the first year you create your LLC? Do you not have to pay quarterlies? No, there is no exemption. It depends on how much money you make. I believe if you make $10,000 or more, currently you need to pay quarterly taxes. And need is a little bit of a strong word. Like if you don't, you're not going to go to jail or anything. You're going to be fine. All right, this person asks, is it necessary to hire an accountant? Are they basically just like typing in all the same numbers you would type in when doing taxes? And I would say it depends on how complex your situation is and how much time and knowledge you want to dedicate to it. So like I said, I used to do my own taxes when I was starting out. And yes, to some extent, the accountant is just like, you can use like TurboTax or something. And yeah, the accountant is kind of just like typing in the same info that you are giving them. Sometimes it feels like, they're like, are you married? Yes or no? Then they type that in. How many kids do you have? Type that in. But as you get more complex, that person is going to have more knowledge and actually save you money in the long run. So there's a few like retirement things that I'm doing now and business structure things and salary things. Like I really do feel like my accountant is saving me money now because he was like, oh, you should like switch this little thing. You should do this differently. And then he's like, you'll get this much in tax savings if you do that. Oh yeah, and these two questions are good. So one person asks, should I pay this out of my business account or my personal account? And then this other person asks, how should I categorize it in QuickBooks when I withdraw my money for taxes? So the money you pay in taxes is not considered a business expense. So you can pay it out of your personal bank account if you would like. For most people, that would look like probably doing a transfer into their personal account because, your money is being made in your business account, right? And so you take like an owner's draw and you switch it over to you transfer over to your personal account at some point, and then you pay your quarterlies through that. So that is one way to do it. I feel like it's probably more common for people just to use their business account because that's where the money is sitting, and then you don't have to do an extra transfer. So if you just pay it out of your business account, you want to make sure in QuickBooks that you categorize that to an equity account. So that could be, there's already one that comes with QuickBooks called owner's draw. You could call it that. I make a sub account under my owner's draw and I say like personal taxes. And then I think I have a separate one for state and federal, just because that helps me. I don't know, I feel like the accountant always wants to know like, how much did you pay? So that helps me just have that already like divided out right there. So make sure it is equity out of your business and not an expense of your business. All right, this person asks, do you pay your salary that you pay yourself in your quarterly tax? So this one is hard for me to answer without knowing their situation. Usually the word salary means like a W-2, like you are probably an S Corp and you have created a payroll system and you are an employee of your business and you are getting a W-2 salary. So if that is what they meant, then your salary is an expense to the business. So this does get a little complicated. You're gonna kind of have to know what you're doing if you're getting to this point in your business. But if you are an LLC, you will not have that salary. You are not an employee of your business. You are an owner of your business. So in that case, anything you take out and start spending personally is an owner's draw, an equity account owner's draw. And in that case, it is not an expense to your business. So that I think is kind of confusing if you've never heard this before. So let me know if you want like a whole video on this. I don't know if I explained it very clearly just then, but hopefully that answers the question. This person says, do you have to fill out a specific form for the IRS? I have been paying my quarterly taxes online, so I have an online account with the IRS and I just log in. And then if you're doing it paper, which I used to do, there is a form, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's like something 40E40 or something, but you can Google like what form do I need to file quarterly taxes and you'll find it. But the next question is, how does the IRS know the expenses that you spent on your business? Do you use credit card statements, bank statements, and what if you use cash? So this is kind of like bookkeeping 101, but basically, yes, most of the stuff you're probably going to spend on a debit card, it's going to come into your bank account, and then we connect it to QuickBooks with bank feeds. So everything feeds in there, same with the credit card. And I'm pretty sure you are supposed to save receipts. I actually haven't looked at the policy on this in a while in our now digital world. But if you are using cash, definitely save the receipt. If you went to a restaurant, save the receipt, and then you can add that expense manually in QuickBooks and say you paid cash. So obviously it's not going to feed in specifically through the bank account in that case, but yeah, save your receipt and then add it into QuickBooks manually. That could be another video too. Let me know in the comments if you want that video. All right, that is it for today's video. This month I'm going to be talking a little more about tax stuff, filing your taxes, creating your 1099s, sending info to your accountant, all that good stuff that we do in January. So definitely subscribe if you are interested in that and if you would like a new bookkeeper video every single week. All right, I will talk to you next week. Take care.